Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star on novel. So let's start. 10 flexible vines instantly shot out from Luo Feng's shoulder, swiftly growing and becoming a 1,000 kilometers long vine. The 10 of them intertwined in space, wrapping around the spirit energy weapon. Ang! The spirit energy weapon slashed hard at it, tore through the vines. However, the regeneration speed of the vines was too fast. It completely exceeded the spirit energy's destruction speed, wrapping it so that it couldn't break free. You dare stop my weapon? A furious roar could be heard. A white beam of light tore through space and flew over. 8 more beams of lights followed behind him, and all of them were Sector Lord level 9. Your Majesty, that white-haired punk is called La Peter. When he left the ship, he only had 2 Sector Lord guards. Now, however, there's suddenly 8 of them. I think these 8 are all Blood Demon soldiers he controls, and this guy is obviously one of Blood Demon Emperor's elites. Dylan smiled and communicated. He was an undying proficient in spirit and soul techniques. Every action from the ship was completely visible to him. La Peter and the 8 beams of light shot over. 9 Sector Lord level 9s. Domain Lord level punk, you dare disrupt the Blood Demon trials, you must be seeking death. He roared, eyes burning with rage. Blood Demon Emperor was a force unmatched within the Gu Lun universe country. Other than the universe country leader himself, who else could control him? Trillions of years of tyranny, they'd long gotten used to it. Right now there was someone actually disrupting the trials, wasn't it suicide? Rumble. Dylan, who had been standing beside Luo Feng, smiled. He had been hiding his power all this while. Suddenly, he let out his powerful energy, and a gleaming gold light instantly covered the 9 Sector Lords, almost like a sturdy rope that bound them immediately. Ah! The 9 Sector Lords were completely bound by the undying energy. La Peter gritted his teeth and struggled hard, however he couldn't get free. Undying. He stared hard at Dylan. Master. The 8 Sector Lords were struggling too, shouting out. You really hid yourself well. La Peter stared angrily at Dylan. Howling, when I scanned earlier, you hid your strength and now you suddenly let it out. Why, does bullying a Sector Lord like myself satisfy you? La Peter's mad gaze swept past Luo Feng and Dylan. Who are you? Just who are you? To actually dare mess with Blood Demon Emperor's matters. Have you been living for too long? La Peter stared at Dylan. You sure got guts. Dylan smiled, glancing at him and saying softly, his voice resounded within La Peter's mind. Even though your master Blood Demon Emperor is powerful, compared to our virtual universe company, he's nothing. However, he is still my elder and for that I will spare your little life. Dylan's smile broadened. Rumble. La Peter's 8 Sector Lord guards immediately exploded from the powerful undying energy, their flesh and blood spewing everywhere. Ah! La Peter gritted his teeth and shouted madly. His 8 Blood Demon soldiers. He could at most control 9 slaves now, and these were 8 of them. With them being killed, he could at most have 1 slave for a while. Your Majesty, let's go. Dylan looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng nodded. 2 beams of light tore through space, leaving La Peter behind to howl in rage. Luo Feng and Dylan sat in the Yunmo planet ship and traveled in the dark universe, heading towards a mineral planet in the Gu Lun's universe countries due to or Starfield to gather with the members of the virtual universe company. That La Peter sure was arrogant, even before an Undying he behaved that way. Undyings normally wouldn't want to offend Blood Demon Emperor, hence they usually won't kill him. But handing out punishment is still normal. For his 8 soul salves to be destroyed like that, whether he's pitiful or not, he can probably control no more than 10 slaves. Luo Feng muttered and laughed. Each soul salve was incredibly important. Everyone took up an irreplaceable spot. Even Luo Feng, who had trained in the 10,000 soul control, he could at most control 10 soul slaves now. He's used to being a tyrant. Dylan smiled. He is entitled to his tyranny. After all, he did have 8 Sector Lord slaves. Luo Feng mocked. Sector Lord slaves. Luo Feng was indeed not affected by it at all, with his mother nest constantly producing his bug army now. In 2 to 3 years, she had already produced about 10,000 Sector Lord Pinnacle bug soldiers. This 10,000 bug army, with the Queen Alina's control, could completely match up to an official level Undying. Naturally, whether it was Luo Feng or Dylan, they couldn't be bothered with that La Peter. After 3 more days of flying, in the space above a nameless mineral planet, the space rippled and the blood-colored triangular ship appeared. Once the doors opened, 2 silhouettes flew towards the planet. In a crater of the nameless planet, a black universe ship was stopped there. 3 silhouettes flew out from within. The 3 of them met with Luo Feng and Dylan. Your Majesty, Luo Feng. The 3 that flew out were led by a winged old man. He smiled and said, Your Majesty can release the 10 billion star travelers here. Luo Feng nodded. He triggered the world ring and immediately a sea of star travelers were released from within. The desolate planet was suddenly filled with people. The blur of star travelers all seemed shocked as they looked about. Rumble, the old man suddenly released endless green winds that wrapped the entire planet, and all the star travelers on it. He stood high in the air. Behind him was a huge, over 100 kilometers tall projection that spread throughout. Everybody could clearly see this majestic projection. From today on, you close to 10 billion people will be free from the Dutu or star field. You no longer have to participate in the blood demon trials. Our virtual universe company will give you a peaceful life. The winged old man's voice resounded within their minds, as they were all completely stunned. After which they all cheered madly. Howls. Crying. Woo wa, we no longer need to die, no more. Big brother. The siblings hugged each other tightly. As close to the 10 billion people had filled up half of the planet, the 2 siblings happened to be close to Luo Feng and Dylan. With their star traveler energy, they clearly saw Luo Feng and the group. It's the black-clothed god. The girl said. Ah. It's him. The youth's eyes gleamed, saying, It's the same black-clothed god that stopped us from fighting in the grasslands. Only his armor has changed. Before, when Luo Feng had placed them within his world ring, he was worried they would continue killing within. Hence, Moshe Luo Feng appeared before them and shot the 10 billion people. After the winged old man had finished, he placed all of them within his world ring and the planet regained its original desolate state. Your Majesty, Luo Feng. The winged old man flashed and landed beside Luo Feng. Your second mission is now complete. You should have gotten your completion rate too. They'll tell you what your 3rd level mission is. Ah? Luo Feng was stunned. Simultaneously. Luo Feng, there's mail. Barbata's voice resounded within his mind. Ha ha. The winged old man laughed when he saw Luo Feng's expression. Your Majesty should have received the mail, please take a look and in a while. I'll have to take you to carry the mission out. Luo Feng sent a thread of consciousness into the Virtual Universe Network. Virtual Universe Network, Yuseong Mountain Primal Region, Luo Feng's villa. In the study. Open. Luo Feng sat before his desk and looked at his laptop, opening the mail. The mail opened, the details were. You've completed the 2nd level of the highest point mission. The members have made their decision. Luo Feng, your completion rate is 90%, you get 180,000 points. Also, you now have the right to begin the 3rd level. Evaluation. Despite the bloodthirst in your bones you still pick the weak, and more 10 billion star levels. Obviously you care more for the pitiful, or you see an equal importance between star levels and star travelers. Massacring millions yet calm as still water, at the same time, picking the weaker people to save, we were definitely shocked by your choice. We give you 90% completion for this level, hopefully you'll continue to surprise us for the 3rd and 4th level. Luo Feng laughed, Barbata who sat on his shoulder laughed too. Barbata, I bet that among the members judging me for the highest point mission, the one with the actual power, is one that prefers kindness and less killing. Luo Feng laughed. Because of my bloodthirst in the 1st level, Luckily I remained calm and collected throughout. They gave me 82%. After seeing how I picked the weaker people to save, they actually gave me 90% completion. Reading between the lines, Luo Feng could feel that the upper echelon writing the letter was kind within. Don't get proud. Barbata shook his head. The first and second levels seem easy, but this is after all still the highest point mission. It tests a core member's character and ability in judgment. It not only represents the points superficially, but whether you'll be of use to the company in the future. Luo Feng nodded. His chat with his teacher before had let him know. This was the virtual universe company truly trying to get to know its core members, and to find out if a core member had no limits to his bloodthirst and was incredibly mad. They may still become absolute warriors in the future, but they would at most become generals that fought the inter-race wars and could never truly become the huge authority figures in the company. Their nurture would be less too. Third level. Luo Feng opened the mail. He smiled and looked at the details. After which, his smile froze, he stared wide-eyed, not budging at all. Damn. The virtual universe sure is absurd. Luo Feng was completely shocked from the third level of the mission. The fist-sized Barbata on Luo Feng's shoulder stared wide-eyed, shocked. The virtual universe company sure is the virtual universe company. This is like a slap to the face. Luo Feng shook his head and forced a smile. They are not forcing Blood Demon Emperor, they are forcing me. The details of the mail were: third level mission, Blood Demon Emperor controls the entire Du-Tuo star field, with hundreds of undyings under him. Even though he hasn't done anything over the limit, there are a few of his underlings that have. Currently, we have confirmed 21 of them. There are 21 undyings and 19 sector lords. They are Abdullah, undying, given the Kai-Tai galaxy as territory. He had once massacred all life on a few hundred planets in the galaxy, even keeping a large amount of them in his god country. Yisuo, undying. Red, sector lord. Ao Kufei, sector lord. He had once gathered over 10 billion young ladies and organized the craziest blood demon ceremony, over 10 billion of them becoming a sea of blood. He also. Mission, the Virtual Universe Company has already sent the order to Blood Demon Emperor to capture these 21 alive, and he has already locked them up within Blood Demon Planet. Luo Feng, you are to swiftly head over there, and judge the 21 of them. The choices are, death, jail for 1,000,000 years, jail for 100 years, innocent. The fates of these 21 are in your hands, you can judge them in whatever way you want. You control whether they live or die. Reminder, when you reach Blood Demon Planet, you have to open the synchronized broadcast, and close it only after the judgments are complete. Within the study, Luo Feng couldn't help but force a smile. He had known that the highest point mission wouldn't be that simple. The first and second levels didn't pose any difficulty at all to him, and no danger was present. However, this third level, the Virtual Universe Company was absurd, ordering Blood Demon Emperor to capture the 21 people. Even though he was a member of the Hong Alliance, the power of the Virtual Universe Company was on another level altogether. How could the little Blood Demon Emperor go against them? Naturally, he could only obediently capture the 21. However, the judgment and the fate of these 21, they actually let Luo Feng do it, having to personally head over to Blood Demon Planet. Blood Demon Planet. That was Blood Demon Emperor's nest. He would naturally meet Blood Demon Emperor himself, and execute his judgment before him. Wasn't this a blatant slap in the face? The heavier the sentence, the more it would invoke Blood Demon Emperor's hate. Luo Feng shook his head. After all, everything is decided by me, and if I give a light sentence, it would go against my character. They are really forcing me. The Virtual Universe Company has ordered Blood Demon Emperor to do so. He must be enraged, and yet at the same time, he cannot disobey the direct orders. Luo Feng forced a smile. From the way he did things, it was obvious that the Blood Demon Emperor wasn't a kind person. Now, for no reason whatsoever, he had to go offend a great Emperor-level undying. On that mineral planet. In mid-air, Luo Feng and Dylan along with the winged old man stood in space and chatted. The old man smiled. Your Majesty Luo Feng, have you seen the third-level mission? Luo Feng nodded and revealed a sense of helplessness. Ha ha. The old man laughed at the scene. Relax, even though that blood demon planet is his nest, he would never ever dare touch you, unless he's looking to die. Even if he doesn't dare now, what about the future? Luo Feng shook his head. Then that'll depend on your choice. A lighter punishment will make it so that he will remember your mercy. The old man muttered. All right, we won't say any more. Please follow me towards Blood Demon Planet. Luo Feng wasn't in a good mood. He nodded and kept the Yunmo planet ship. He flew with Dylan into the black ship from the Virtual Universe Company and headed to Blood Demon Planet. Blood Demon Planet, it was the core of the entire Dutuor star field. Over 10,000 galaxies, holding their blood demon trials to absorb more elites that would be sent here. Large amounts of blood demon soldiers, be it sector lords or undying, they were all here. Also, the powerful blood demon emperor himself stayed here. It was truly a demon hole. They are going overboard. The Virtual Universe Company is simply bullying me. His voice resounded throughout the entire Blood Demon Palace. Everyone within shuddered. Within the palace, the god dressed in red armor with a helmet was raging. Beside him, 18 undyings all acted respectfully. If they want to catch my underlings, just do it. Yet they force me to do it myself, capturing Abdullah and the other 20. His eyes burned with flames of rage. They want to sentence my people and still force me to do it personally. They even sent people to disrupt my blood demon trial earlier. They seriously do not even bother showing me any respect. The 18 undyings had expressions of righteousness within, however they were thinking. Disrespecting Blood Demon Emperor. What a joke. Why would the Virtual Universe Company even bother with him? It was such a huge power. Blood Demon Emperor was but a little thing compared to them. Seriously overboard. He raged even more. I've told you all before, when I give you territories and galaxies to handle, it's up to you how you do it, but always remember the limit. He turned to look at the 18 undyings beside him. Now you see, Abdullah and Yasuo have got it coming to them. You all better remember this. We will remember. The 18 undyings bowed respectfully. Lord. One of the shorted undyings said respectfully. Didn't the order of the Virtual Universe Company also say that it will send a Primal Region member Luo Feng over to do the judgments, and that all the sentences will be dealt by him? A small domain lord, at least with your pressure, he wouldn't dare offend you. When the time comes, he may even let them go off scot-free. Blood Demon Emperor said solemnly, sounds right, that little punk wouldn't dare offend me. No matter what, since Abdullah and the others are all my underlings, I must do my best to keep their lives. For this lone warrior, his underlings were all precious to him. When others came to seek shelter, he naturally had to take up the responsibility of a boss. The 2 undyings had come to him earlier to seek help. The least he could do was to protect their lives. Even though the undyings about him didn't dare say it, they weren't that blind to the situation. If they fell, Blood Demon Emperor's interior cohesiveness would naturally fall. 6 days later, a black ship appeared in the galaxy outside Blood Demon Planet. Your Majesty Luo Feng, look, that's Blood Demon Planet. The winged old man pointed and said. Luo Feng glanced over. There floated a completely blood-red planet. Just seeing it up close was enough to make one shudder. The ship swiftly flew towards the planet. As it drew closer, one could see the huge mountain-sized constructs. The entire surface of the planet was void of any technology. These constructs were all made like mountains, and the interior was where the network was. Tearing past the atmosphere, the ship headed straight towards the most majestic palace. Your Majesty Luo Feng, that is Blood Demon Palace. The winged old man pointed far ahead, at the most majestic palace. Surrounding it were many little palaces, even the small ones were a few kilometers in area, many of them were surrounding the huge one. In front of the huge palace was a huge plaza measuring tens of kilometers, and large amounts of warriors gathered there. With just a glance, there were at least 1,000 people here, and the weakest being Sector Lord. They were led by a red-armored god. his brutal bloodthirst energy was felt by Luo Feng even through the ship. The ship descended and landed in the plaza, the cabin door opened. The winged old man, Luo Feng and Dylan along with 2 others came out. "Greetings, Blood Demon Emperor." The white-winged man bowed slightly, after which he introduced, "This is our virtual universe company Primal Region Genius, His Majesty Luo Feng." Luo Feng bowed too, showing respect to his elder while observing his actions. Even though Blood Demon Emperor had controlled his aura enough not to let Luo Feng feel the pressure, his blood-red armor body itself gave off a weak aura, almost like an endless blood ocean. He wore his helmet, hence making it hard to see his expressions. "You are Luo Feng." Blood Demon Emperor laughed. "True Yang Emperor has indeed taught an exceptional student. I heard not long ago you disrupted my Blood Demon trial in the Wei Li Galaxy." Luo Feng was stunned, saying, "Yes." "Ha ha, no need to explain." Blood Demon Emperor waved his hand, "1 galaxy's Blood Demon trail means nothing. Over a span of trillion years, we've held it in over 10,000 galaxies over and over, losing 1 to even 10 times means nothing. At different levels, one's perspective was different. To Blood Demon Emperor, 1 to 10 times of the trails was indeed nothing. However, to his underlings, every one of them was an extremely important matter. How could they be careless? This Blood Demon Emperor seemed straightforward. Luo Feng noticed as he thought, however, he was forced to capture 21 of his underlings personally, with 2 of them being undying. Anyone with any temper wouldn't be happy about that. He may not care about the Blood Demon trials, but my disruption of the trial was a slap to his face. If he said he didn't care about my disruption, that would be a lie. He thought so within. On the surface, he showed gratitude. "Thank you, Blood Demon Emperor, for your understanding." "Understood, of course I do. You are just working for the Virtual Universe Company, business is business. There are still many things of which you have the power to decide." Blood Demon Emperor laughed loudly. "Am I right?" The winged old man interrupted. "His Majesty Luo Feng definitely has the power to decide whether the 21 are sentenced to death, or imprisoned, or innocent. It's all up to Luo Feng to decide." This old man. Luo Feng was getting anxious. Luo Feng's power sure isn't small, ha ha. Blood Demon Emperor smiled even wider, looking at Luo Feng. Over 100 of the Undyings that had gathered there looked at Luo Feng, along with the thousands of sector lords. The pressure from being stared at by Blood Demon Emperor, along with over 100 Undyings, and the 1,000 sector lords was terrifying. However, Luo Feng had already experienced such a scene before, back when 9-Blade Knight's Undying army came. Their pressure, which also included the raging Shahua Knight, was much worse. Looks like this is his show of strength. Luo Feng thought. "Your Majesty." Dylan communicated beside, "We can only stay low and bear with it." "Understood." Luo Feng answered. At this time, Blood Demon Emperor laughed carefree. "Luo Feng and the Undyings, please come in, follow me." He passionately grabbed Luo Feng's hand and headed into Blood Demon Palace. Luo Feng was taken aback, but he could only obediently follow him in. Dylan and the winged old man followed along with the vast army of Undyings and sector lords. Lord. Many absolutely beautiful lady maids were kneeling within the palace throughout. Come, Luo Feng, what do you think of my palace?" The main body of this palace is an ancient one that I found damaged in a universe secret region a long time ago. I had it renovated and now it's become the Blood Demon Palace. He pointed about. Just the repairs and renovation cost me over 10 million mixed elements. Even though Luo Feng could feel a special energy from the palace, he wasn't able to make sense of what it was. He could only smile along. "It's really out of the ordinary." "Indeed." The old winged Undying pointed about and said, "The palace itself is a fortress. After the renovation and fusion with a metal life form, in terms of defense and battle ability, it's even stronger than those F9 grade ships." Ha ha, Blood Demon Emperor laughed loudly. "Guards!" Blood Demon Emperor suddenly shouted. Immediately, 3 Undyings from the army behind rushed up front. "Go, bring the guilty 21 here." Blood Demon Emperor roared. Yes. The three Undyings complied respectfully. This scene actually shocked Luo Feng. They had just entered the palace. Wouldn't bringing the 21 here immediately change the whole atmosphere? Luo Feng, I really respect your teacher True Yang Emperor. It's a pity that over the many years, he's always been in Primal Chaos City and never left. Hence, I've never had the chance to have a taste of his unmatched talent. It truly fills me with regret. Blood Demon Emperor sighed. You are his disciple and my junior. Sentencing these 21 is a small matter, we can talk about it later. Since you are here for the first time, I've prepared a ceremony for you. Come, follow me. He led the way. Luo Feng could do nothing but follow. After a while, they entered a large hall. The army of Undyings and sector lords stayed in the reception area outside, while Blood Demon Emperor, Luo Feng, Dylan and the winged old man along with two others entered the exquisite small hall. An exquisite jade blue stone table was already prepared there along with well-carved chairs. The six of them sat down. Bring the dishes. Blood Demon Emperor ordered. Immediately, absolute beautiful ladies carried the dishes out. They were all fine delicacies, and there were many plates of them. There was also fine wine and many other desserts. This is the Demon Clan Soul Dragon's liver. The winged old man was shocked. This is the Flame Snow Soul Juice. Everybody around the table looked on with shock at the many delicacies that were coming out. There were many fine dishes on earth, however with the vast and mysterious universe and the immeasurable food items, there was much more around. Luo Feng was already used to fine delicacies from the virtual universe. With 100% simulation, the price was still much cheaper. However, it was after all still just the virtual universe, the feeling within was still different. As for the dishes before them, even in the virtual universe, they would still be extremely expensive. This table of dishes alone should hit up to 10 million mixed elements. The winged old man looked at Blood Demon Emperor. You've really spent quite a bit here. Ha, as long as you enjoy the food. The moment I met Luo Feng, I was filled with joy. This little bit means nothing. Blood Demon Emperor said carefree. Dylan and Luo Feng exchanged glances. This bit, how much was it worth? What a joke. 10 million mixed elements was quite a bit, even for an emperor-level Undying that has accumulated wealth over extremely long periods of time. Even normal Undying's wealth usually only hit up to 10,000 mixed elements. The two Undyings captured to be sentenced in terms of worth, they probably didn't even hit 100,000 mixed elements. Why did Blood Demon Emperor spend so much? Just for the two Undyings? No. Those two Undyings weren't worth this much, it was all for reputation and face. The virtual universe company had after all forced him to capture his 21 underlings. This had indeed enraged him, and he didn't want to let down the Undyings under him, hence he had to find a way to protect their lives. Spending 10 million mixed elements. To an emperor-level pinnacle warrior, he didn't care. To him, with his high and mighty position, even if he had to lower himself to treat this little punk well, spending 10 million mixed elements on incredibly luxurious delicacies, if he was willing to do so much, would Luo Feng be in a good position to sentence the 21 heavily? The action was simply. Yet it was very effective. Luo Feng looked at the many luxurious delicacies on the table, not daring to eat. The mouth that has been fed by others is soft, the hand that has received doesn't reach. Luo Feng thought, for Blood Demon Emperor to lower himself for me, if I eat any of these delicacies, how will I be in a good position to sentence his underlings heavily later? Come, try the Soul Dragon's liver. It's an absolute delicacy, it will make your entire soul feel comfortable as you eat it. When I knew you were coming, Luo Feng, I had this sent over via God Country teleportation, it is definitely extremely fresh. Blood Demon Emperor said. Luo Feng and Dylan both didn't eat. The winged old man and the other two however ate to their heart's content. Good food, delicious. The old man exclaimed. I really have to thank you, Luo Feng, this time. Otherwise, if it was just me, even with my entire fortune it wouldn't be enough to afford the items in this table. The two normal undyings that followed along both nodded too, complimenting the food. These three. Luo Feng was angry. They were purely here to make a mess of things. Try it. Blood Demon Emperor looked on with anticipation at Luo Feng. Under his gaze. How could Luo Feng not eat? He picked up his chopsticks and began to eat before shaking his head. Please forgive me, Blood Demon Emperor. I cannot eat now, since the mission from the Virtual Universe Company is still on my mind. I shall not force you then. Blood Demon Emperor laughed. At this time, a ruckus occurred from the reception area, and Blood Demon Emperor frowned and shouted, "Open the doors." Yes. The maid beside immediately went to open the doors. Even though Luo Feng and the others were seated around the table, they could still see the scene of protest outside in the reception hall. 21 chained-up warriors knelt outside, and 2 of them especially had powerful auras. Their chains were different too, with complex engravings on them. Obviously it was some kind of seal. Killing undyings was a very hard thing to do. Sealing was much easier. Defeating them was easier than sealing, however it was obvious that these 2 undyings were sealed up specially. Lord. The 2 chained-up undyings knelt down. Beside them were the 19 sector lords who knelt down as well. HMPH. Blood Demon Emperor slammed the tablet before him, shouting, "It's too late to regret now. Lord, we've wronged. We are extremely regretful now, please give us a chance." The 2 undyings protested, but obviously they also knew that they only had 1 life, plus it was begging Blood Demon Emperor. Naturally they didn't care too much about their face anymore. They were clear this was a true predicament. After all, it was the order of the Virtual Universe Company. If they weren't careful, they could be instantly killed. Give you a chance. Blood Demon Emperor stood up fiercely and roared. If you knew this was coming, why did you do such things then? What's more, your fates aren't in my hands today, but in Luo Feng's from the Virtual Universe Company. If you want to beg, beg him. Your Majesty Luo Feng. Lord Luo Feng. The 2 undyings knelt there and begged. The 19 sector lords beside had pained expressions, however they didn't say a word. Luo Feng immediately guessed, the sector lords probably don't mean anything to Blood Demon Emperor. These 19 sector lords have been controlled to not say anything. It's obvious that he really wants to save the 2 undyings this time. As for the 19 sector lords, they are at my disposal. The 2 undyings that had death facing them begged earnestly. You too. Blood Demon Emperor walked from his seat to the reception hall, standing before the 2 undyings. He sighed softly and gently slapped their shoulders. Abdullah, Yisuo, you 2 have followed me for so long. I don't wish for you to die too. However, I have no say in this, it'll depend on your fates. After which he shook his head and walked back. Luo Feng. Blood Demon Emperor sighed. These 2 have been with me for over 10,000 eras. I'd be lying if I said they didn't mean anything to me. However, you have to pass the judgment. I hope that you can follow the orders of the Virtual Universe Company, and still give them a chance to survive. They are after all 2 undyings, as every single undying is a treasure to the human race. Producing even 1 undying isn't an easy task at all. Within the hall and reception room, all of them had gone silent. Only Blood Demon Emperor was speaking and acting. Seeing this scene, how could Luo Feng not be clear of his intentions? He had basically laid everything bare. Even though it didn't seem like he was forcing Luo Feng, in truth, he was telling him, "Show me some grace and let the 2 undyings go. But, the other 19 are at your disposal. Luo Feng, go judge the 21 of them." Blood Demon Emperor said, and sat beside him in a chair. Yes, Blood Demon Emperor. Luo Feng complied respectfully, and turned to face the kneeling 21. Part 1 end here.